More information is coming out between Ripple and the Bank of France. We're going to go ahead and get into all of the connections. I will also show you some hidden information that nobody's talking about online right now with partnerships to do with France and Ripple. We're also going to take a look at some information. The Genius Act just passed in the Senate. What's next? We're also going to take a look at some news about the biggest partnership for Ripple. I'm going to tell you all about this. Plus, I have a ton of other information. Let's go ahead and start, of course, here with the Banque de France. The digital euro must be compatible with ISO 20022. The Central Bank of France is considering XRP as a platform to issue the digital euro. So we're seeing more and more information. I've covered a lot of this stuff in the past. This is actually, they've been working on this for quite some time. But I really wanted to understand, is France really going to choose Ripple? What other technologies are they testing? Where are we with all this? And what's the next step forward? Let's go ahead and answer all of those questions. So here's the overview. The Banque de France has emerged as a prominent European central bank exploring the use of Ripple's XRP ledger as a potential platform for developing a central bank digital currency, specifically for the digital euro. This interest has been documented in several reports and confirmed by recent academic industry updates. Really quickly, I don't know the politics in the European Union or the UK. I do know that since the UK left because of Brexit, that France has really taken a leadership role in the European Union. And if France moves forward with a private ledger and Ripple's technology, that could mean that other countries in the EU would feel comfortable with working with Ripple on their central bank digital currency, and that could be extremely powerful. So let's better understand what's being said right now, what's real, what's not. I got you. The CPA Australia report highlighted that the Banque de France was considering Ripple and XRP as a potential platform for issuing the digital euro, citing the platform's technical capability and alignment with central bank requirements. So this is also something that you need to consider. They're not going to choose any technology that is not interoperable with other technologies, as well as they're really looking at XRP as a bridge asset. They could use it for all kinds of things. A wholesale CBDC, which means that the Central Bank of France is doing some type of trade or other types of things with banks in the country and internationally. And so there could be a lot of different currency changes and currency pairs, and that all can be done simply, using XRP or something like RLUSD. I would imagine that this is going to be some type of digital euro, and who knows what in fact this could look like once it's all finished. Here's the technical requirements for all of this. The digital euro system is required to be compatible with international electronic data exchange standards such as ISO 20022, which Ripple's technology supports, facilitating integration into the international payments landscape and enabling cross-border transactions. Remember, Ripple has been, at the IMF. Ripple has met with so many central banks, it's hard to keep track of at this point. We understand that this is a big technology push for Ripple. Although they've removed a lot of this from their website, I think they're still behind the scenes working very hard to get this all done and connect the world through the XRP ledger and interconnectivity. So here are the developments from last year and this year. Official testing of Ripple's private ledger. The Banque de France has officially initiated tests of Ripple's private ledger as a foundation for its euro-based CBDC. This marks the first confirmed trial for Ripple's blockchain for a national CBDC in France. Academic research from the Ulster University Industry News confirms that Ripple's private ledger is under active testing by the Banque de France. So this is actively going on right now. This is so cool. Institutional trust and EU-wide implications. So this is understanding, the EU as a whole. I believe it's 27 countries all together working every single day and pushing forward here. The Banque de France engagement with Ripple's technology signals a strong institutional trust in Ripple's technology, which is seen as more suitable for central bank requirements due to its permission nature, regulatory compliance, and transaction speed, privacy compared to public blockchains like Bitcoin and Ethereum. If it's successful, Ripple's infrastructure could be considered for broader digital euro discussions, access to the European Union, potentially making Ripple a core technology provider for the digital euro. Now, we have no idea how this is going to work out, but the fact that they are testing this should speak miles, should speak volumes to you. I'm going to show you what other technology that they are testing. And actually, when I looked this up, I was very surprised to see I didn't see any other big blockchain names in the discussion. You will see names that you recognize, but you're not going to see anything that you think you would recognize. So let me go ahead and get in here. Ripple's technical advantages. We know how fast it is. I've seen some documentation. Swift is like 1,000 transactions a second. So XRP doing 1,500 transactions a second. Remember, Ripple is not going after like Visa. They're not trying to be an institution for all of these retail customers charging. They want to deal with the institutions and the banks, financial institutions, financial market infrastructures, and central banks. We talked about the permission network, allows authorized validators, right? These central banks would be nodes on the network. They've been testing and doing research to 2016. Next year will be 10 years they've been doing research. Remember when I tell you about, they're just not going to create a technology tomorrow and adopt it. They have to go through years and years and years of sandbox testing to make sure that this is actually going to work before they entrust their entire economy into this digital representation of their value. The bank has previously tested CBDCs for cross-border payments and settled. Here's a list of those. So I wanted to better understand, moving down here, is the Bank of France testing any other CBDC technologies? Because I think that's important to complete this research so you understand it's not just Ripple, it's these companies too. So let's get into that. Here are the companies. So Accenture, other blockchain platforms and partners. The Bank of France has concluded at least 12 different CBDC experiments since 2020. So they're actively trying to figure all this out. And so the notable collaborations include Accenture, HSBC, Societe Generale Subsidy Forge, Crypto Bank Seba, and of course, Tezos. I was like, Tezos? That's a little strange, isn't it? But you notice a pattern here though? You notice anything? Out of these 5 companies or whatever mentioned, Ripple Partner, Accenture, HSBC, and Societe Generale Forge are all Ripple partners working with Ripple, maybe not on central bank digital currency, but definitely working with them on cross-border payments and custody solutions and those type of things. So I actually, I started looking at these companies one by one to see. I noticed these 3 companies are already Ripple partners. Does it have anything to do with CBDC technology? Because I wanted to take that step further, right? Are they testing their own technology, or are they working with Ripple to test, their technology through like Accenture is what I was trying to figure out here. And the gist of this is they're testing their own technology. They're not testing Ripple's. So here is Accenture, talks about the Ripple partnership, talks about the CBDC involvement, and it talks about the summary. I just don't want to spend too much time on this. I will include this link down in the description. If you want to get in here and go through all this, I would love to see that. I will make sure that this document is public so anybody can do that. But I did all of this research. I'm just letting you know, if you want to pause it and read all through this, you can, but there's no actual connections between any of these Ripple partners using actual Ripple's CBDC technology for this. This was interesting though. There was some SSG Forge, Societe Generale's Forge Euro CV stablecoin designed to be MiCA compliant, will be issued on several blockchains, including the XRP ledger. So there is some interesting connections there, but let's go ahead and move on. And just to show you this goes back to 2016, which is really incredible that 9 years later, they're still trying to build on this thing. All right, let's talk about the Genius Act, because this is very important to the future of CBDCs. This is also the future of stablecoins in America. America is the biggest financial market, and I'm sure there's a lot of other countries that are going to follow suit, but take a look at what's being said right now on American media. This is Fox News. This is, I think, Maria Bartiromo, and this is, I can't remember this senator's name. He's the gentleman who's actually behind the Genius Act. He's the one who helped write it. Haggerty, Senator Haggerty. Just needed to give it a second for it to click in.
I'd say first, I'm very enthusiastic about the stablecoin legislation that I've led. We've been working on this for months. We have a strong bipartisan product. We will deliver that midday today. We'll have it ready, and I think it's got a tremendous amount of input from the industry, from my colleagues here. We've involved the administration. I think we're going to have a great product that actually sets the stage for moving into a modern-day payment system into the 21st century, getting us off the old system that was designed in the 1970s and 80s, making the dollar the key element in the digital arena. And frankly, it will stimulate more demand for U.S. Treasuries. It will strengthen the dollar's position as a reserve currency.
Yep.
We're going to see that advance in a way that, again, takes a lot of friction out of an old clunky system, reduces counterparty risk, reduces currency risk, and will bring a lot of working capital back to the companies that need it and back into the economy. With respect to the SEC, I couldn't ask for a better partner than Paul Atkins. He's doing a terrific job already. We're going to be working arm in arm to try to help advance the entire cryptocurrency industry, the entirety of this industry. They'll keep us on the cutting edge of the 21st century. As you mentioned, I want to make my state a hub. We've got Bitcoin miners there. We've got Bitcoin Park there. We had the great Bitcoin conference there that President Trump attended. That's where he announced that he would be firing Gary Gensler. I think that received great applause, and I think everybody's extremely happy to see someone, a strong, conservative, hard-nosed fellow like Paul Atkins coming into office. I'm looking forward to working, arm in arm together with him.
Oh my God, music to my ears. It's such a beautiful change. There was all that hostility, and we were getting nothing done, and we were going backwards in life, and then things changed, and oh man, if you haven't noticed, over the last year, my hair has been getting more and more gray, and partly because of all of this additional stress from the crypto market. I'm just glad we're moving forward. All right, let's get into this. So I saw this document posted by Brett Crypto. And, obviously this is an ad down here. I'm not going to read all of this, but I wanted to look at the document itself. Ripple Labs Inc. has the right address in San Francisco here. And this is talking about subject is activation of on-demand liquidity infrastructure for Geoball corporate tokenization. Is it supposed to be global? Anyways, I ran this document into, perplexity. I said, is this real? Because, part of me doesn't think it is. And so this is what Perplexity came up with. And just remember, AIs are not perfect. They pulled data off a bunch of different sources, and this is what it came up with. The image claims to announce a major partnership between Banks Exchange, or I guess it's an exchange, and Ripple, describing the activation of on-demand liquidity infrastructure for global corporates. So, doesn't make me feel good when global is not spelled right there, right? Tokenization it represents itself as the official communication of Ripple Labs. And then here we go. Verification claims. Official partnership announcements. There has been recent news and articles discussing Ban Exchange integrating with the XRP ledger, enabling multi-chain trading and tokenization, highlighting BankX's, let's just call it BanX. Well, I'm just going to call it BanX, okay, from now on. BanX support for XRP and ERC20 tokens. However, there is no evidence of an official joint press release or formal announcement from Ripple Labs. So, is this real or is this not? I'm leaning towards it's not real. And that's unfortunate, but part of this channel is to show you how you can fact check things in real time. And I'm hoping, there are more and more of you coming on every day that are new, that might not know exactly how to do certain things. And if I can show you just a few steps to help you keep your sanity and to help you verify things, I think that's going to go a long way for your education. And that's really important to me. So I'm not going to talk about this too much other than I don't think this is real. If there's some news and information that comes forward from Ripple saying that it is, I will go ahead and correct that statement. But right now, it's not looking good for this, okay? All right, there's also Quantum Biopharma has added 100,000 XRP to its crypto treasury. They put this document here, 100,000. Of course, you know what I did? I fact-checked it, right? Gotta fact-check everything nowadays. Yes, this is true. Quantum Biopharma has added 100,000 XRP. When I say you have to fact-check it nowadays, I mean like before like AI, and ChatGPT and all these things. ChatGPT wasn't before you couldn't, it worked up to like 22 or 23, but didn't have live information. And when you Google search stuff, it's really difficult to figure out if this is real or if it's not. But now I can do it in real time. It's a beautiful thing. And so this is true. Quantum Biopharma has added 100,000 XRP to its treasury. This was confirmed by financial data submitted to the SEC and reported by a reputable crypto news source. That's what we like to see, ladies and gentlemen. But what I also wanted to understand is how much other money has been promised. I think there's been 8 or 9 different companies now that are moving forward with some type of, crypto treasury. Now, I've seen some information online about Trident Digital Tech maybe not having the money to promise 500 million. And as that more information comes forward, I will give it to you. But the gist of this is companies are starting. Banks are starting. Institutions are starting. We are at the starting line. I know you've heard that a lot and you probably don't care for me to say it, but it's true. I'm going to pull this list up in 6 months or 12 months or 2 years or whatever it is. And it's going to be 15, 20, 50, 100, right? There's going to be multiple companies and countries and central banks and credit unions that come forward that want to do something similar. They understand there's a big boom about to happen in the crypto market and people want to be a part of it. And this is how companies are actively trying to be a part of it. Just these promises, right? They could go either way. Nothing's official until that's spot off the open exchange or whatever, off the open market. But this is $1 billion already committed. Where will we be in 6 or 12 months? Will it be 5 billion, 10 billion, 50 billion? This is so exciting. Oh man. And you start to look, right? When I don't even react now when people in the Bitcoin community come after the XRP ledger. I'm just like, I understand why you feel threatened. I understand why you're scared, just best of luck to you. I really do. I think there's enough room for a lot of us to win here. Bitcoin is probably going to go 5 million, 10 million over the next 10 years, unless something drastic happens and it goes to zero. There's people that believe it'll go to 10 million. There's people that believe it'll go to zero. I'm somewhere in between. I think the technology is great. The security is great, but it doesn't do many things for me personally. I love to look at the innovation. I like to look at the CBDCs. I like to look at tokenization. I like to look at the future of DeFi and EVM compatibility on the XRP ledger. This is all incredible. I put out a video. It is a 30-minute video that I put together yesterday. And, I put this video together to just show people how much information and how many different things are happening right now in the XRP space. This is 30 minutes going through all of the latest and greatest information. If you want to get caught up, watch that video, support it, like it, share it. I would really appreciate that. All right. Last but not least, I think I asked it about what are the next steps for the Genius Act. I just wanted to touch base on that. The Senate passes the Genius Act is expected to pass. It already did. After that, the Senate approval, the bill will move to the House of Representatives for further debate and vote. The House may propose amendments for both chambers, must agree on a final version before it can be sent to the president. President Trump is expressing strong support for stablecoin regulation. That man is going to sign whatever stablecoin bill is put in front of him, and let's go. The one thing you should be paying attention to is once that thing is signed, how long does it take to go into effect? Because if it goes into effect right away, we're going to have to get some champagne on the channel. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a fantastic week ahead. Aloha. Nothing in this video should be taken as financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. I am not a financial advisor. Please seek financial advice if you need it. Let's get back to the video.